Hello dear viewer, it's me, Maury from Daytime Television. You are the father. That being the case, I thought I'd round up a couple songs you can send to the mother of your child, or your girlfriend, or your boyfriend. Whatever you got going on, who am I to judge? I've got a couple tracks here, varying both in quality and in severity, I guess. I'll explain as I go. Let's get started with the first track. Something by the Beatles, a tried and true classic, I'd say. What does this song say about you? Let's think about it. Liking the Beatles makes everybody feel smarter. You send this to your partner, bang. Now they think you're smarter. On a serious note, this is a brilliantly poetic love song. The Beatles, some of the greatest lyricists to ever live, bar none. It's a song about love itself. How love has almost taken over the narrator's life. The sense of being captivated by someone, not through logic or reason, but kind of through pure instinct. Captures being in love down to its core. To love someone so deeply without being able to put it into words. It's a simple song, lyrically at least, but an incredibly powerful track, I'd say. Even described by Frank Sinatra as the, quote, greatest love song ever written. Maybe I should have just said that. The only exception, Paramore. I've got a star next to this one in the script. What does that mean? Allow me to put it into terms of football. Let me set the scene. It's the fourth quarter, 2 minutes on the clock, 2 times out, you're down by 4, and you're at the opponent's 40-yard line. Gonna need a touchdown to win this one. Most songs in this video I'd describe as first or second down plays. Toss these out, try to get a little closer to the end zone. Songs marked with a star, these are third down plays, a little riskier, no doubt, but some high upsides on these plays. Maybe not for your talking stage, but date your partner for a couple months, maybe a year, toss one of these out, third down play. This is one of those songs. A song about learning to love again after questioning its very existence. At some point in her life, she started to question the existence of love, almost as a concept. She started to not believe in it until she met the only exception, her one true love. It's about believing in love itself, and before meeting that person, it felt completely impossible. Incredibly sweet track. Again, this is a third down play. Don't use this in the first quarter of the game. Luna, Smashing Pumpkins. This track here, it's got 2 fucking stars next to it. I don't think I have to explain the severity of this situation to you. This is a fourth down play. A Hail Mary, if you would. This is a song you send to your soulmate and nobody else, I don't think. Or maybe I'm blowing it out of proportion, but I really like this song. Luna's a song that closes out the legendary Siamese Dream record, and while I think the context of that album aids this track's impact in my heart, this track is beautiful regardless. It's truly just the sweetest love song almost ever written lyrically. The album in its entirety is about struggle and about not feeling okay, to be honest, and this song closes the record out on an incredibly heartwarming note. It's a momentary break from the chaos ensuing throughout the album, a grand conclusion and realization that love is able to bring him peace. Sweet shit. And I love her, Kurt Cobain. Not an original Kurt track here, but I prefer his rendition to that of the Beatles, to be honest. Both are great, pick which one you want, but I kind of prefer the rawness of Kurt's rendition. It hits me a little bit harder. It sounds like it was recorded in one take, very little production, just kind of a man and his guitar professing his love. Lyrically, it's not as in your face as a track like Luna, it more so touches on a quieter love. A love that isn't as loud and vibrant, but a love that exists almost as a fact. About the peace that comes with the person he loves. Really sweet track. Second to third down play, I would say. Love song, The Cure. 5 seconds on the clock, 0 times out, still at the 40-yard line, okay? It's 4th and 10. You've got to go for a Hail Mary here. This is the song. Same kind of thing as Luna. It's a very simple song to understand. A confession of love. A love so profound that the narrator pretty much describes it as immortal. A love that will truly never die, regardless of the circumstances. Really sweet track. But you've pretty much got to send this one to your wife, or I'm afraid you've made a huge mistake. It's about real, undying love. Quiet devotion that survives anything and everything. This is an emergency button. Don't use this unless you have to. Entombed, Deftones. First of 3 Deftones entries on this list here, and I'd say the least on the nose. It's certainly a love song, but I think the other 2 I mentioned later perhaps have sweeter lyricism. The song with a couple layers, to be honest. It's about loving someone so much that the world almost begins to change. A love that feels like fate to him, an inevitable love he was destined to experience. But also kind of a love that's consuming him. That part makes it a little less romantic, huh? Do what you want. The Boy, Smashing Pumpkins. This one isn't too complex, to be honest. Your standard first down check play. It's a super simple but bright song about being in love. That's about the size of it. The vocals aren't even done by Billy Corgan this time either. One of my favorite James Iha tracks from the Smashing Pumpkins. Really fun listen. A really sweet track. I like it a lot. 33, Smashing Pumpkins. I wish I could tell you this was the last Pumpkins track, but there's one more, I'm sorry. This is a tricky one here. You've got to be the right fella for the task, okay? It's not your typical love song. In fact, not even really described as a love song, but I find some of the lyrics to be really sweet. As I interpret it, it's a song about Billy Corgan's struggles to believe in the pleasantries of this world, perhaps even in love itself, or perhaps in life itself. But through his love for this person, he finds a reason to live for tomorrow. In his mind, she makes tomorrow worth it, and I think that's a pretty sweet sentiment, right? Still Remains, Stone Temple Pilots. This one has a star next to it. I don't remember what that means. I hope you still do. At its core, did you catch that? Core, like the album. I thought that one was pretty good. At its core, I think this track is about an undying love, a love that you can't be lost through pain or time, an eternal love, kinda. The lyric I find really sweet here is, if you should die before me, ask if you can bring a friend. It's just a declaration that this world isn't worth it without her, or him. Powerful stuff. Beauty School, Deftones. Off of perhaps the horniest record ever recorded, I bring you a Chino Moreno masterclass. A track about love, if you could believe it. Diamond Eyes as an album is a really important one within the Deftones discography, and that's due to the loss of the entire band struggled with prior to its release. Chi Chang, the band's bassist, had been in a coma after an accident. I think this song, while not a direct message to Chi like Risk is, more of a rediscovering of love after a great loss is what I describe this track as. It's a love so profound that it's able to lift him out of this dark space he was in. Not about beauty in a general sense, it's about the kind of beauty that changes you, the kind that you never forget. Deep Inside of You, Third Eye Blind. This is a tricky one. You can't send a song called Deep Inside of You to your coworker, you know what I mean? Star on this one, but beneath the title lies an incredibly touching track by the Jumper Guys. A track perhaps intended to be about the loss of a relationship, but I find it has a really sweet connotation as well. The title being Deep Inside of You is in reference to the scar on his heart. That sounds good, let's go with that. The song takes place during the aftermath of a relationship, and it kind of goes through the character's sadness following the relationship. The lyrics I love here: I never felt alone until I met you, and I was alright on my own until I met you. It's sweet stuff, I think. Maybe don't do this one, I just needed one more for 20 songs, but I think it's pretty sweet. Take Me Down, Smashing Pumpkins. Another James Iha track, believe it or not. This guy was in his bag in the 90s. Just a really sweet track, kind of about surrendering to love and giving yourself to another person. Really sweet track, but enough Pumpkins, am I right? That's the last one, I promise. Stay Forever, Ween. To send Ween to someone you're interested in is perhaps shooting yourself in the foot, but I find this play to be a great gamble. Ween, of course, an inexplicably strange band, but they have some undeniably beautiful tracks, and this one here off of White Pepper is one of those. A really strange track within their discography because it genuinely bears very little resemblance to almost any other Ween track. Got none of the brown and all of the beauty, a rarity at this point in the band's career. Lyrically, it's fairly easy to understand. It's about finding peace and love. Perhaps not the high drama kind, but the love you carry with you every day, a love you hope never goes away. Truly Ween at one of their rawest moments, at least predating this. No mask, no jokes, just a really sweet track. Lonely Day, System of a Down, a classic I think, a slightly similar case to Ween, albeit in a very different way. While System of a Down consistently tackled tough subject matters, this track feels more emotionally raw than pretty much everything else they've ever written. A track where the vocals are mostly done by Darren as opposed to Serge, and when that's the case with this band, the songs often end up a little softer, a little more tender than their typical hard metal track. It's a track about loneliness, I think, and the longing to escape that feeling. It's through this love that he's able to escape that, or at the very least cope with that never-ending loneliness. Really sweet track, I think, but I must emphasize, and this is important, I have no idea what I'm doing. Miracle, Shine Down. Shout out to the Shine Down guy. This is a bit of a deep cut from the world's most average rock band. I was a moderately big fan when I was a wee young lad, and by a moderately big fan, I mean my dad would play this record in his car sometimes. It's a really simple love song, but I think this guy's vocals are pretty good and it's pretty sweet. I think it's about being saved by a person, kind of like that last track. It's finding light in the world through love in your darkest moments. The miracle that saved his life. The miracle of someone loving you enough to change your life completely. It's a cool song. Just Like Heaven, The Cure. I would equate this to a first and 10 inside run play, this track here. Perhaps the safest play in my entire book, a classic dating back to the 1980s. A song originally written by Robert Smith for his wife, and it's a real sweet one. A track about love down to its very core. Recalls a moment so profound in his life that it feels almost unreal to him. A moment he can't believe truly happened. Romantic, it's nostalgic, it's even a little heartbreaking if you think really hard, but I'm not willing to think that hard. Celebration of love down to its roots, a love that feels eternal, even if it fades. Do You Realize, The Flaming Lips? Honestly not my favorite song from this artist, but it's an incredibly sweet one, and I believe their most popular track as well. Musically, the song is very ethereal, very spacey, very beautiful. Lyrically, it's perhaps not as straightforward as some of the other tracks have been, and more so tackles the beauty of life itself, about the realization that life is fleeting, that all this is going to end someday, and every moment, every person you love, that's what makes this whole thing worth it. A deep cut, you might have to explain this one, that's not my best answer. Nothing Compares to You, Chris Cornell, nearly as safe as Just Like Heaven, an incredibly sweet track originally written by Prince, covered about 800 times by everyone you know. Chris Cornell's version is my personal favorite, but I've seen a lot of love for Sinead O'Connor's rendition as well. In its purest form, it's about losing someone who kind of meant everything to you, and realizing that nothing can really fill that hole in your heart. But I also find this song can have the opposite meaning. About filling that hole in your heart with a person you love an indescribable amount, a person's love that can't be compared. I don't know, I'm just saying shit. I think about you all the time. Deftones. Back on track. This one has to go my way, I think. Though I don't have much to say, to be honest. An incredibly straightforward love song. Seems to me to be about finding safety within a person, a safety you couldn't even imagine before meeting them. Sonically, it's just a really sweet track. Just an electric guitar and one of the greatest studio vocalists to ever live. I like it. She Caught My Fancy, Ween. This is my goat, dear viewer. I imagine I lost a lot of you at some point in the last couple of minutes. Probably when I mentioned fucking Shine Down. But I've saved my best for last. Ween. a band near and dear to my heart, often associated with inexplicable shenanigans, but like I said earlier, when they go for this sweet style of track, it hits all the harder because of that silliness. A slightly tricky track to find, I'm afraid. It's not on streaming services at all. It is on YouTube, though. It's not that hard to find. Some of the most beautiful guitar work I've ever heard on this track. Really sweet acoustic riff that kind of just repeats throughout the song. Lyrically, goes through the vocalist just falling in love, down to its core. The moment he saw her, the scenery, the poetry. Gene Ween at his best right here. Just a really, really, really sweet track. I actually can't see this one backfiring. Just send the shit out there. It'll work. I'm 100% sure. And with that, I've either completely ruined your relationship or I've given you a catalog of incredibly sweet songs for the person you love the most. Thank you very much for watching, dear viewer. Please subscribe and stuff. I think that helps. And I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.